Hey, good morning. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth. Happy Monday. How was your weekend? We had a great weekend out in the Happy Valley, UMass Amherst. I have my priorities set. We went to Parents Weekend and had a great time. Like normal people. I just looked up that the UMass Stadium holds 17,000 people. And I swear to God, there could have been like 34,000 people in the parking lot at the tailgate. It was like crazy. Last year, we also did the same thing, but we were in like the wrong parking lot. I have never been to an Alabama game or a big time college football tailgate thing, but my God, like it was a lot of fun. And I was the designated driver, so I didn't have as much fun, so to speak, as my wife and daughter did. But it was a good time with normal people out in the Happy Valley, out in UMass Amherst. So I hope that you had a great weekend doing your no Kings thing. And great to have you here this morning. Happy Monday. Very nice to have you here. I loved the Trump video, if you haven't seen it yet, that he dropped on Friday, was it? As he kind of trolled the entire left.
My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over. In fact, our fight has only just begun. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation.
It's not playing right. Why is that? My Chrome and my other computer, it's glitchy. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on a second.
Under God. So with American pride swelling in our hearts and American courage stirring in our souls, I say these words to you.
I don't know. It's definitely not working. Let's pull that off. Definitely not working. I don't know. Maybe we have too many tabs open. Maybe I'm not having a good I thought I was having a good Monday. Plus, I heard some other song like in the background. I don't know what all that is, but let's just X out of that. If you have not seen Trump's blue sky video, I would strongly recommend it. Let's see if we can go to something just plain soundbite, which let's try this soundbite here from Speaker Johnson. Let's see if that loads. Nope, that's not going to load either. Okay, all right, it's going to be like that. Is this how today's show is going to go? I think this is how today. I think it's these Fox tabs that I have open because I'll show you the headline and then we'll skip over these Fox tabs. But Fetterman is now the extremist in the Democratic Party. All right, we're not going to cover these tabs because I think these are the tabs that are sucking up my energy on my computer. So we're going to X out of that. You can't see it, but like Chrome and not responding, having technical difficulties today. What a train wreck this show is. Why do you people watch this show? So as I struggle with this, you tell me what you did this weekend. You normal people, you tell me in the comments what normal people did this weekend because I did some normal stuff. And then we're going to show you some weird people and what they did. Let's X off of that Fox thing as well. I think it could be the Fox tabs that are giving us so much trouble because they suck up a lot of resources. They're trying to serve you like 90,000 ads all at once. Happy Monday. Sorry, we're having a little bit of a glitch. We'll get right back to it in a second. As soon as Google Chrome decides to respond. I checked to see if I was like using too many resources, and I wasn't. And I checked to make sure I had plenty of memory. I got plenty of memory. It's just not working today. And of course, if you can't show the screen thingy, then then it's just me talking. So we'll give it another minute or something. But if you put comment and tell me what you did in the comments. I also have another question for you while we're trying to get this reset. I wanted to know, is this story out of Maine? There's this story out of Maine that this guy was paying for a car, and somehow he drove away with $7,400 in cash on the roof of the car, and he like drove away without the money. And then someone came along and picked it up. And now they're looking for that person, and they're going to charge that person who picked up the money that he found on the side of the road with theft. And I'm like, morally, it's the right thing to do, right? It wasn't your money. It obviously belongs to somebody. You should probably turn it in. But is it a crime? I remember once I was in a car dealership, and I got in the car in the showroom, closed the door, kind of, checking it out. And then I reached into the glove box and the center console, just kind of like, how much space does it have? Then I put my hand in the door pocket, and out I come with a gold Rolex watch. And I'm like, damn, this is good. This is a good trip to the car dealership. This had to be like 20 something years ago. And I turned it into the car dealership. Yeah. Which was morally the right thing to do. But I would have liked the watch. Yeah. So that was up in Maine. Let's see if we can get, I don't know what clip we're going to play right now, but let's see if it works at all. Oh, yes, I think it will. I think this is a representation of what happened this weekend. Let's go with this clip.
This extreme overreach by the Trump administration has to stop. It's harming U.S. citizens and law-abiding immigrants who are here. Our rights, our civil rights, our human rights are being stripped away.
All right, notice, you remember the Sue O'Connell clip from this weekend? There's a lot of Q-tips. Notice how many Q-tips are in the background. Almost everyone here is a Q-tip boomer.
It has to stop.
It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Make it stop. And I don't know who put this Ice Ice Baby comment up there, but that is great. Then I found, doing the best I can to kind of reconfigure today's show. Then I found this video. Now, this is somewhat disturbing, and it's a different topic altogether. And I think we're into the swing of things now that I got rid of those Fox tabs. But this is a very disturbing video from your Boston socialists. And this woman's going to explain the damage that has been caused by the Trump administration because they have basically canceled the money for, hold on, let me get my air quotes, gender-affirming care at the Fenway Community Health Center. Here she is, or him, explaining the situation.
Transgender youth in Boston will lose health care due to new federal funding attacks by the Trump
Transgender youth, so people under 19.
Administration. Fenway Community Health Center has 30,000 patients serving the LGBTQ plus community, the HIV positive community, low-income families, and the uninsured.
I can't count, but there's any number of piercings.
Fenway Health is where I first accessed hormones as a young trans person. It's where I still receive gender-affirming care to this day.
Maybe accessing the transgender hormones when you're a youth isn't a good idea? Just say it.
The Trump administration recently threatened to deprioritize funding for providers who offer gender-affirming care to youth, which then led Fenway Health to halt gender-affirming care for patients under the age of 19. This administration has been unrelenting in their attacks against the trans community. The local community is organizing and calling for a more resilient and equitable system.
The camera's up here. Camera's up here. Okay. All right. Just so that you know, because obviously reading off a script.
Boston is supposed to be a sanctuary city for transgender people.
It is? I didn't know that. A sanctuary city for transgender people. Again, if you want to be a consenting adult and do your own thing, fly your freak flag. I watched the Talladega race. That's my freak flag. Like, I'm a big NASCAR fan. But not for kids, right? Not for kids. You shouldn't be doing these types of things if you're a child. Because if you do them when you're a child, this is what happens.
Clearly, being in a blue state isn't going to save us from an administration that has consistently scapegoated and trivialized trans community and trans existence. This is not a single struggle. Fighting for gender-affirming care is a fight for women's liberation, a fight against racial healthcare disparity, a fight for healthcare as a right, not a commodity.
Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere.
Our struggles are interconnected.
Oh, I was waiting for that. That's why this is sponsored by your Boston Socialist, right? That's exactly right. This is the Socialist page on Instagram.
It's our job in our community to foster a society where all young people can thrive, and that includes trans youth.
Okay, well, now that we're all set straight on that, I thought that was a really important video to show, just to get you understand where the Democrat Party is in regards to these social issues. Now, if you haven't seen this extremely disturbing video from yesterday, take a listen. I believe this is out of Chicago. Am I right? Yes, this is out of Chicago. This is somebody actually telling you what they really mean when they say no kings. Take a listen.
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out. You gotta grab a gun.
You gotta grab a gun.
Turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot.
Did you hear what he just said about these ICE agents? Yeah, unbelievable. I won't repeat it. But that's what's going on. That's the base of the Democrat Party. Here's also the base of the Democratic Party. Thank you, Jerry Callahan, for bringing this to my attention. Ed Markey making his speech yesterday with a trans flag wrapped around his neck, literally. Moulton immediately dropped to his knees and groveled before the trans mob. He's a coward and will gladly let his boys beat up his own daughters if it wins him support of the radical kook fringe of his party. That's exactly what's going on. So you might remember that late last year after the election, Seth Moulton actually told the truth about boys and girls sports. Then he got pummeled. He got the snot beat out of him by his own party, and then he caved, right? And so now this is a huge issue in the Democrat Party for U.S. Senate, and Markey, he's no dummy. Don't count out Ed Markey. He's no dummy. He's literally wrapping himself in the flag of the trans movement because he knows that he can get every one of the he knows he can get every one of those votes and every one of those activists, because those activists know that Moulton at a time of weakness, Moulton might flip on them, right? In fact, I got some reports that Moulton kind of got booed or less than a positive reception at yesterday's or Saturday's No Kings event, which I think was the first time that Markey and Moulton shared the same stage now that they're running against each other in the primary. But literally, Markey is wrapping himself in the flag. And this is what's wrong with the Democrat Party, is that it will now be incumbent upon Moulton to move even farther left to protect his flank, because he'll lose these people entirely if he hasn't lost them at all. So the only solution is to wake up to reality and become a Republican. That's not going to happen. So his only other option, politically, practically, is to move even farther left. This is why, like, the Democrat Party is becoming very French Revolution, like, adjacent. Like, you can't get left enough. Like, ask Fetterman. Fetterman is our Robespierre, right? 3 years ago, Fetterman was like the progressive idol. Now he's hated by the progressives. He's the Robespierre of our time. I can't believe it. Right. I can't. And they're looking to primary him, and they're looking to primary Fetterman. It was definitely the Fox pages that were killing us. So I'm glad we got rid of those two stories. Sorry about that earlier in the show. But it's all working now better. This is also what happened. If you haven't seen this, so this is a Trump piñata. You get your kid who wears a mask because he's still worried about getting COVID, And then he does this to the Trump pinata. That's what you should teach your parents. That's what you should teach. Good job. That was brought to us, by the way, by TikTok for discovering that. They hate us. Here's Marky again yesterday. Oh, with Elizabeth Warren in the background. Talk about boomers, right? 2 geriatrics. Anthony Mori once again for the win. Anthony Mori had a big weekend. These two geriatrics who love to say they fight for their constituents say nothing about how their fellow Democrats refuse to obey the will of the people and allow an audit 72% of us voted for, right? So no kings. But of course, we're a completely all blue state, and even a bunch of Democrats voted for an audit of the legislature. But no audit for you, right? No audit for you, right? 72% of us voted for this thing, and no audit for you. So obviously, if you haven't thought about this politically, the support for the audit is a mile wide, but it's kind of an inch deep. It's not right. If you had to say what was the most important issue, it's not the audit. Everyone supports it, but it's nobody's number one issue, and that's why it hasn't happened. And the simple fact of the matter is though that 72% of us did vote for it, and it should have happened because it became law. And yeah, it became a law, and it should have happened, but it won't happen because of the Democrats, which of course Maura and Ed and Elizabeth, they're the leaders here. If Maura wanted the audit to happen, she could just say that, the audit should happen. But she doesn't want the audit to happen, right? She said that she expects everyone to obey the law, but if she really wanted to, as the leader of the Democrat Party in Massachusetts, she could call up the Senate president, she could call up the speaker and say, you got to do the audit. You're making us look bad. But she won't. That's not how it's going to be. She won't do that. Chester Tam yesterday. Thank you so much. Is this the Q-tip quote from Sue O'Connell? I'm pretty sure this, if you've not heard of this could be the funniest thing I've heard on TV for quite some time. This is Sue O'Connell at NBC, everyone's favorite, describing the crowd.
People I know who are there. This is an older crowd. There's not a lot of folks, and granted, it's a big crowd here. I'm not good at estimating, but
Is this from this year? Is this like some farce? Did she really say this? She says this is 2,000 or 3,000 people. I'm awful at crowd estimate. That does look a little bit more than 2,000 or 3,000 people. But here's what she says. She can't even be bothered to go. But here's what she says.
it's definitely over 2,000, maybe close to 3,000. We can't see everyone, but it's an older crowd, a lot of white hair. You see out there, Q-tips, as we used to call them in the business. And they're out protesting, and not a lot of young people.
Not a lot of young people. No, not a lot of young. A lot of young people are at the football game, like my kid and me, like us normal people, not us boomers that are retired on our FISA stock, right? If you're retired with a bunch of pharmaceutical stock, then you're at the Boston Common Rally. Exactly. Put your mask on. Put your mask on, Buck. Put it on. What's wrong with you? Put your mask on. Bunch of cute. Now, the organizers, by the way, are saying that they had 125,000. That's a big difference from what I just heard Sue O'Connell say. So I don't know how many people were there because I was at the football game. Oh, by the way, we never even actually made it to the football game, but we had a great time. We had a great time. And I heard the Patriots won yesterday. We were out having brunch, a late brunch, but so we didn't see the football game. But I did listen to the just so that understand my priorities. I did listen to the Talladega race on the whole ride home. So yes, I know Kyle Larson ran out of gas on the lap. I'm very upset. I know. I'm extremely upset. Last lap, he looked really good, and he ran out of gas about a mile or so from the finish. Yes, very disappointing. I was like, oh no, Kyle. Oh man, he ended up finishing like 25th or something like that. All right, so today, if you want to go out and see Brian Shortsleeve, you can go do that in Burlington. He has an event in Burlington. It's not at the ice facility. It's the maybe he should have it at the ice facility. I don't know, but it's someplace in Burlington, Grandview Farm, wherever that is. Well, you can go to his feed and you can find that out. It's in Burlington. Ann Brensley is speaking before the Log Cabin Republican Club, October 29th. Okay, good for you. She was at the Audit the Legislature rally last week. She stood right next to me for a moment. I didn't say hello to her for whatever reason. She didn't say hello to me. But hi, Ann. And she'll be at this event October 29th. It's a Wednesday. Mike Minogue, he has not posted on X, unless he did it again this morning. He has not posted on X since the 16th. There's no place in Massachusetts for these threats against law enforcement. 100% agree with you on that. But a little quiet on the Mike Minogue campaign over the weekend, unless he's active on like other networks like Instagram. I should do better on Instagram, but I'm just one person. This is kind of a hobby, but Instagram has exploded for political content. If you haven't noticed, so maybe he's active on Instagram. I don't know, but he hasn't been on X, and X is the number one platform for political / news. And if you're actively running for governor, you should be on X at least. I mean, if you want to skip a day here or there, that's fine. I get that. But yeah, skipping 3 or 4 days, that's probably not a good idea. You should have something to say about the events of the day on most days, right? Mike Keneally out with a long statement on the 18th, which was Saturday. This came out early Saturday morning, just before the rally. And he goes on a, I don't want to say rant, but he just speaking facts here. Unemployment during Healey's tenure has risen by 23%. That's as a percentage, but it's way up, as if you noticed. Now at 4.8%, we're a full half point ahead. Higher than the national average, unfortunately. He points out that Maureen Healey appointed an ex-partner to be a powerful judge. I would just add, Mike, Maureen Healey also just appointed her wife's attorney to be a judge. So for those of you who don't know, the First Lady of the Commonwealth works at this, how do we want to say this, non-profit, basically money laundering nonprofit scheme, the United States Democracy Center piece of shit thing in Washington, D.C. And Maureen Healey just hired or appointed the attorney for that organization, where the First Lady makes $400,000 a year, to be a judge. Yeah. So sorry, Mike. Maybe you missed that one, Mike, but let me just add that to your list here. You would have been a little bit more politer about it than I did, but I know that you probably okay with me adding that to the list. A politician who bragged about using levers to sue their political opponents, right? That's all Maura does. Sue Trump, sue Trump, sue Trump. Of course, Michael didn't vote for Trump, but last year. But set that aside. Politician who used their power to restrict constitutional rights during the pandemic. Politician who's threat to defund cities and towns for not following up on edicts. Ooh, except one of those edicts is the one that you're the godfather of. Yeah, setting that aside, but a decent list from Mike Keneally. Mike Minogue is this? Oh, yeah, I guess he sent this out the other day. Or she sent this out on Saturday morning. This looks like a screenshot from LinkedIn. Is that what this is? He's on LinkedIn. I guess so. I think I deleted that app. He's offering a matching donation situation. I'm personally matching every donation in my campaign, dollar for dollar, up to $1,000 per person. Support me if you believe we can make a difference for education and give parents a choice for kids trapped in failing schools. Support me if you've ever helped you, mentored you, and all things are possible with God. Support me. I don't know, like matching funds for is that a thing? It just doesn't seem like it rings a bell. I guess you can do it. There's no problem. Legally, there's no problem doing it that I know of. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do it. And it does kind of seem kind of like GBH. Like, do I get an umbrella or a tote bag with that? I don't know. If it works for him, running a campaign, you can try different things. Give it a whirl. Maine is the gift, isn't it? It really is. Listen to this. We won't play this whole 5-minute video, but this is Graham Planter. Is that how you say Platner? Whatever his name is. And he said some bad things on the internet a while back, like a decade ago. And here he's trying to apologize. Just a clip. It's priceless.
Hey all, it's Graham here. As you've probably seen, there's a story that's broken about...
There's a story that's broken, and I'm going to stand in front of some lobster traps to remind you how Maine I am.
Comments I made on Reddit in an earlier part of my life. As I read through them, I read things that I absolutely do not agree with. I read through and I see things that... words and statements that I abhor. I also see the trajectory of my life. When I got back from Afghanistan in 2011, I stayed in the Army for another year. I got out in 2012. Some of the worst comments I made, the things that I think are least defensible, that I wouldn't even try to defend, come from that time. I had spent the bulk of my 20s in the infantry.
Okay, so it's because he served his country that he said these awful things. Get it? Right? He's a victim, and he wants you to give him a pass because he served his country. Thank you very much for doing so, but I don't think he gives you a pass to say these awful things. So next up from Maine, thank you, Maine Wire. His political director quits.
And this entire thing is about building power. We need to build power again. So I can't stay for too long. A week ago, I was just some random guy in Sullivan, Maine.
Really? Well, thank you, everybody.
I was just some random super wealthy guy that trying to look like I'm a oyster fisherman from Sullivan, Maine. Sure you are, Graham Platner.
For being here tonight. It's so great to see so many familiar faces and so many people that I have met over the years. So I'm Genevieve McDonald, and I'm the political director.
Yeah, bye-bye. You're gone. Thanks for coming. I wonder if she had green eyes like the song, right? Let's see. Somebody said there were a lot of people out. Embassy said a photo from 2017. There's been a lot of controversy of whether or not that 2017 photo is actually a 2017 photo. And then there's other people saying, no, the tents are in the same place as 2025. And I don't know how many people were there. I didn't go. There were a good number of people there. And you got to give them credit. I mean, they had events all over the country and all over the state. They had how many people. They had a lot of people out. Good for them. They all lost. They're all losers because guess what? We won. Our guy won last November, right? And you only have to come out with 3, 5, 7, 125,000, whatever the number is. If you lost last year, we didn't have to show up with 125,000. Why? Because we won. We fucking won. Every blue state, every blue wall state, our guy won. Popular vote, our guy won. Electoral college, our guy. The whole thing. I deleted LinkedIn long ago. They still send emails. Hi, whoever you are. Thank you very much for joining us. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but good morning to you. Thank you very much for showing up today. Here's that story I was telling you about in Maine. A Maine man drove off with $7,000 on his roof. Police are seeking the man who scooped it up off the road. I don't know. Like, my feeling is if you're stupid enough to leave $7,400 on the roof of your car and it falls off your car, then my feeling is if you find it, you should do the right thing morally and turn it over to the police. However, is it a crime to keep it? Because the police want to charge the guy. The police say they want to charge him with stealing the money. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Like if you go to a car dealership and you reach your hand into the pocket of the door and you find a gold Rolex, are you stealing it if you keep it? Now, remember, I told you I turned it in to the car dealership people. It probably belonged to one of the salesmen or something, right? I turned it in, and I never inquired about whether I never got the backstory. I never called up and asked what happened. I just assumed they did the right thing as well. But would it have been a crime to put it in my? I don't think it would have been a crime. You lost it. I found it. Oh, well, but I don't think it's a crime, right? If you, let me just ask you, you find a $5 bill in the parking lot of the grocery store and you keep it, is that a crime? I don't think so. Unlike the crime, if you hadn't noticed, and that's why we mentioned Anthony Amore earlier in today's show, did you see the whole, and I don't have the clip, but did you see the whole theft at the museum in France, in Paris, at the Louvre? Oh my God, did you see? They had like one of those construction lift things, and that three of the guys got in the window, from what I understand, and I'm a little sketchy on this because I was having such a good time at a normal people weekend, that they used the lift to kind of elevate themselves up to the second floor window. And then there was a fourth burglar who got in some other way, but it was all over in like 4 minutes. And according to Anthony Amore, who knows this type, he's a preeminent expert, like world-class expert in this type of thing. Your average museum heist is like, if I have the number right, like something like 3 to 9 minutes. It's boom, quick. Like, yeah, in and out. Basically, it's kind of like a smash and grab. And amazing. And sad, I guess. Literally like stole a crown of jewels from like one of Napoleon's wives. Don't ask me. I don't know anything about art. But yeah, horrific. More gifts from Maine. Check this guy out. We will not play this whole clip. Well, maybe we will because it's just so insane. Again, thank you, Steve Robinson and Off the Press.
This is us doing reassurance to make sure that we stand with our citizens for what is clearly
our citizens. That's an interesting use of the word citizen based upon what he's going to say next. This is City Councilor Joe Leonard.
Unhinged
in Bangor
Gestapo organization. That's what's going on right now.
Let me say that again.
For what is clearly a unhinged Gestapo organization. That's what's going on right now. We are a very old state. We are a very old city, and new labor coming in is not going to be predominantly white. We need immigration.
Right, Plattner? You need cheap labor to shuck your oysters, right, Plattner?
Maine is not going to survive without immigration. ICE is an immense threat to our labor force and to our economy. And
the inverse is probably true. Maine is not going to survive with immigration. Because, like, Maine, if you have not noticed, Maine is on its way to becoming England.
And so it's incredibly important to make that well known. In fact, just because I do think this is relevant, there's a multitude of things that this organization has done just within this year. So there's a 700% increase in violence from this organization.
From this organization. The organization is the federal government, and there's like 1,000% increase in violence against them, right? They're the ones that are victims of the violence. And sometimes you nuts that encourage this, you actually had some guy shoot at a Texas ICE facility, and instead of killing the ICE agents, which was the intent, you instead killed a couple of detainees. Yeah. So where is the violence coming from? I'm pretty sure it's coming from your side, because ICE is not committing violence and abductions and that type of, they're enforcing the law. Oh, but they're doing it at a rate that's never been seen before. That's because you just had a massive invasion that's no one's ever seen before. Picking that up from a Massachusetts angle, we have the Massachusetts Teachers Association giving credit. Listen to this here. Our public education system is a colossal failure. Jerry Callahan, once again. Jerry and our teachers across the Commonwealth are responsible. Check out this program here. You can win or earn, I should say, credit, continuing education credits, for a dynamic series of trainings and popular education workshops designed to meet the urgency of our political moment with clarity, courage, and collective activism, rooted in a commitment to justice and liberation. How about a commitment to reading, writing, arithmetic? How about a commitment to that? How about a commitment to poetry and geometry and algebra and stuff like that? These sessions equip educators with the tools to challenge the oppressive systems and build the power. Well, we, of course, what am I saying? Math is an oppressive system. Math is racist. We all know that. I don't know why. Solidarity school trainings and workshops aim to build a fall cohort who will reconvene in person to share experiences, bargaining for all, winning immigration justice at the negotiating table. So this is a mass teacher training from the Massachusetts Teachers Association, which basically teaches you how to include immigration matters in your contract negotiations, even though legally the school's not required to include immigration matters. They're going to, let's see how they put it here. We will also address strategies and tactics on how to pressure employers to negotiate matters that may not have a legal obligation to negotiate. Workshop counts as one elective in the MBTA bargaining certificate. An overview of legal protections for educators, blah, blah, blah. So if you're looking to get a MTA bargaining certificate, you can do that by learning how to force your city and town to negotiate on ICE policy rather than arithmetic or English literature. You can force the city or town to discuss ICE policy in the contract rather than, I don't know, how we can teach our kids better, right? How we can teach our kids better. Unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. Trump just trolling more and more. Pauses Cape Cod Bridge funding. Uh-oh. Now, again, the irony here is that the greatest thing that's happened to Maura Healey is that Trump closed the border. If Biden got hold on, let me get my ear. If Harris got elected, or the auto pen, if it was a Harris administration, the invasion would have continued and the Healey hotel problem would have gotten worse. Now that Trump's closed the border, all we needed was a new president. That's the best thing that's happened to Maura Healey. Absolutely. And in a way, the way the politics are shaking out now is Maura is going to run against Trump, obviously. She's even calling Michael Keneally a Trump candidate, which is crazy. And with that, Trump is going to punish blue states like Massachusetts on any opportunity he can. He's also killed, temporarily at least, this massive project in New York City, massive transit project in New York City. And now he's threatening to cancel money for the bridges. So yeah, in a way, like Trump is the best thing that's ever happened to Maura Healey in a real way, especially relative to closing the border, because it solved that problem. If you can look at the poll numbers, I'm pretty sure that you saw the rebound of Maura Healey's poll numbers are almost directly related to the fact that the Healey hotel problem has faded from the headlines. Not that it's not still a problem and that 5 to 10% of our population doesn't belong here, but they don't all live at the Holiday Inn where there's all sorts of stories and spending and the graft. And right now it's worse in a way because it's all marbled into society rather than siloed at a hotel. God, that I hate that phrase, but nonetheless, you get the idea. It makes it harder to cover as a story. And I'm pretty sure that's why her poll numbers have bounced back. And that's all because Trump closed the border, because all we needed was a new president. Jane brings me this quick. This is Evelyn Carter. She's a PhD expert in DEI expert to lay out the definition. This is at a hearing before your friends at the Massachusetts legislature. Take a listen.
So equity is recognizing that people face different headwinds and tailwinds. And basically what that means is that some people get a little bit of a boost because of their identity.
I have that up as high as it can go. Let's try it again.
And some people get a little bit or a lot of challenge because of their identity, right? And so I shared the one example. I am originally hailing from the Northeast as well, and I do have some familial ties to the Massachusetts and to the Boston area. So I feel some kind of kinship there. But when we think about that experience, right, the fact that my grandparents couldn't get a loan for their house, not because of their qualifications, but simply because there were rules that were written that said, if a neighborhood has too many Black people, it's not desirable and we don't want to lend there. That is a headwind that they faced that white people who were trying to buy a home at the same time would not. So if I want to address the systemic nature of that oppression in the present, I have to find a way to account for the fact that as a white person, right, there's actually an article that I love that was published in The Atlantic talking about how white millennials are more likely to be gifted money for a down payment on a house or a car or whatnot from their parents, whereas Black and Latino millennials are more likely to be giving money to their parents for those same kinds of things. That imbalance comes directly from that inequitable rule that was written in the 1940s, and it trickles down through generations. So equity has to address the starting point, the different starting points, the underlying reason for those starting points.
Okay, I get it. So we had some racist housing rules decades ago, which we got rid of mostly in the 1960s, to be sure, or very early 70s, and you have to pay for it. So get it? Okay, you got it. Next up, if you haven't noticed in the race for governor, I don't get these. They don't send them to me, but the Keneally committee is out with a press release this morning, or yesterday, I should say, that says Short Sleeves Terrible Week, the sequel from the Keneally committee 12 hours ago. Of course, they don't send these to me. But apparently behind the scenes, there's text messages and emails between all of these candidates that are pretty harsh, And of course, I don't get a lot of this information directly because they don't send them to me. They probably should, but there's a lot of going back and forth between both candidates that can be a little snippy. And a little bit with Minogue as well, but he's obviously new in the race. What would this be? This is or almost approaching his third week as a candidate. Am I right? Is that sounds about right? Like he announced on October 1st, it's almost 3 weeks. But there's this whole battle between the candidates that goes on with text messages and emails and press releases that doesn't bubble up to be on the front page, and I kind of find that interesting in that every once in a while, someone on the internet will say, Jack, you're beating up on our candidates. And they're beating up on each other. Hello? Are you paying attention? So I'll say good things and I'll say bad things. But, they only say bad things about each other, please note. And there's this whole primary battle, and it's going to be a bruiser, just like Markey Moulton. That's going to be a bruiser. This primary battle with the governor candidates, it's going to be brutal. And whatever I've said about any one of the three is going to be nowhere near as harsh about one of the three says about the other three. So let's just put some of that into perspective, coming up. Oh, by the way, governor today. No public events. No public events today for the governor. She's way too busy. Gazan photojournalist is immortalized in new documentary. This is what WBUR thinks is the top story in news today. This is WBUR.org. This is the front page of their website. And this is what they think you want to read about more than anything else is Gazan photojournalist immortalized in new documentary. That is their top story. Scroll down. We got the Cape Bridge story, no kings. And of course, Israel strikes Gaza, right? That's what BUR is all about. Thousands protest. I did notice in their coverage that they didn't actually give a number. They said tens of thousands of people fed up with Trump gathered across the country, but they didn't actually. If I read in this story here, there is no place in this story where they actually said how many people gathered in Boston. Not that I think that's critical, but I just thought it would kind of hypocritical. Like, why not put a number up there? By the way, Short Sleeve, since we were talking about the gubernatorial candidates, he was on the record this weekend and kind of got the snot beat out of him by Charmin Sarchetti a little bit. He did all right. No, to be fair, he did all right. But she was on the attack, which I guess should be. As long as she's equal opportunity, I have no problem with that. Hopefully, she would be equally aggressive with anybody else, and we'll keep an eye on that if she was. But it's in at least two segments. I'd have to listen again about what he said about ICE agents wearing masks. I was kind of distracted putting together today's show, but I might want to listen to that part again. All right, so let's get to one of the more important stories of today's show. Massachusetts Governor Healey, gas pipeline stance, reverse fires up critics. She's literally gaslighting us. This is from this morning. Governor Healey says she's never stopped gas pipelines from entering the state and that natural gas is an essential energy source in Massachusetts, a claim that has fired up critics who point to earlier remarks and say the governor is literally gaslighting them. Governor Healey ordered the State Department of Public Utilities to eliminate many extra charges, blah, blah, blah. But in the eyes of the critics, the excessive utility costs are directly tied to Healey's opposition to gas pipelines and her decarbonization agenda. A video resurfaced from 2022. It hasn't resurfaced. It's been surfaced for a year or more. It's been out there. When the Attorney General told the audience, remember, I stopped 2 gas pipelines from coming into this state. And then last week, I never stopped pipelines. And of course, we pointed out that nobody in the press corps followed up on this question. Nobody in the press corps followed up on this question. It's just like, how could you not think about this? And then Mr. D'Souza from the New Bedford-based Citizens Against Eversource, actually, they're everywhere, but Mr. D'Souza is from New Bedford, said this: Governor gaslighting, this is preposterous part that she is trying to use the DPO as a scapegoat. We know that as governor, she is the source of every single excessive charge on our utility bills. Thank you, Mr. D'Souza. Yes. The governor's office told the Herald on Sunday that Healey takes an all-of-the-above approach to energy sources. Lie, because we know she's against coal. She's no on coal. Why do we know that? Because when she met with the energy secretary out at Hanscom Air Force Base a short time ago, one of the reporters, I don't know who that could have been, I don't know who it was. A reporter said, does all of the above include coal? And Haley was like, no. Doesn't include coal. She doesn't like coal. And when she says she's for all of the above, understand that inherently in that statement, she means less gas, much less gas, much less natural gas. When she says she's for natural gas, she's not really for it. She wants to dramatically reduce the percentage of natural gas, which is cheap and plentiful and nearby in Pennsylvania. 60% of our electricity in New England on any given day is produced by natural gas. She wants to reduce that percentage to probably single digits if she ever got her way. And what is she going to replace it with? Incredibly inefficient, unreliable wind and solar, which requires massive upgrades to our energy grid to even make it semi-dependable. So, I mean, if you think this story is going away, you're crazy. Here's Brian Shortsleeve. All you have to do is listen to her own words when she said, remember, I stopped 2 gas pipelines from coming into the state. Was she lying then, or is she lying now? Well, that's a great question, Brian. And according to the Globe, she was lying then. Now she's telling us the truth, Brian. Now she's telling you, but the way they wrote it in the Globe, she was lying then. Mike Keneally followed up. I'll make sure every voter in this Commonwealth remembers what she did. The state's major gas companies have warned again of increased heating costs that are coming up for the winter, with customers facing a 17% spike in gas prices. So, like I tell you all the time on the show, like, you got to pay attention to what happened and what didn't happen. And what didn't happen on this press conference, that was late last week, right? What didn't happen was, and as demonstrated in this article, Mr. Shortsleeve and Mr. Keneally made forceful statements about Moore's, how do we want to say this? Lie. About Moore's lie, right? Who's not mentioned in this article? When you scroll down this article, Mr. D'Souza is mentioned, Mr. Shortsleeve is mentioned, Mr. Keneally is mentioned. You go down a little bit farther. There's a quote from the Mass Fiscal Association. And yeah, that's it. Who's not mentioned? Who didn't make a video about this? Who's not said anything about this huge consumer topic in Massachusetts? Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Who am I missing? Mr. Minogue. He's not in this story, right? You've got to pay attention to what didn't happen. And I don't think we've seen one video from Mr. Minogue. I haven't seen it. That hasn't been like a, how do we want to say this? A highly produced TV commercial-ish type thing. Right? Well, when are we actually going to meet this guy? When are we going to find out like what he's like? When are we going to get to know him? People like to be asked. People like to know their candidate. Right? I'm saying all the principles and everything that has been outlined, appealing. But, you can't run for governor from 30,000 feet. Businesses are being battered by shoplifting to feed mass and cash drug market. Oh, I could have told you that. Oh, look at this really sad video. Matt Stone, credit here for this photo. Woman holds a syringe in her mouth before doing drugs in Southampton Street. Wow. So the story goes on to describe how a lot of businesses, small businesses, are being put out of business. Even big businesses like the CVS that used to be across from Doc's Cafe right near Boston City Hospital closed because of the shoplifting. And I had a story up here, and as you know, I had trouble with my computer this morning. We have starting to be like California when it comes to organized shoplifting, right? Smash and grabs. Lululemon twice hit within 1 week. And I don't know anything about Lululemon. I think I've been there once just to pick something up for a Christmas gift. Like, is that stuff like overpriced or is it really super high quality? I don't know. Let me know. But we're starting to become like a shoplifting. Like, once the thieves realize they can get away with, is it up to $1,200? Then they're going to do that. And they're going to do more because no one's there to stop them. Think about that. If you can run into the Louvre and steal a crown of jewels, you can run into Lululemon and steal some, whatever they sell. I don't know, leggings or whatever the hell they sell. No, I had not seen this last week, but thank you, Ted Daniel, over at whatever channel he's at, for the single-spaced 3-page letter that it took to get rid of Monica Tippett's nut. I know, like it's 3 pages, and it's let's see, how many bullet points? It's 16 bullet points, right? Like, why do you need a 3-page letter to fire somebody? As far as I'm concerned, you need a 1-sentence letter. You're wicked fired, right? That's all. Thank you, Gov. Thank you. I'm the guy to sign it, right? You're wicked fired. And that's all you got to write. But basically, this is omerta, right? This is a $40,000 kiss in the mail, because she gets to collect her salary to the end of the year, and she's not going to say anything, right? Not going to say anything. The administration thanks Tippett's Nut for her service and will, in consultants with Tippett's Nut, make a prepared statement expressing their appreciation. The parties will cooperate on an agreeable form of the announcement. The parties acknowledge and agree that this letter is a public record. Tippett's Nut expressly acknowledges and recites that she has read and understands the letter and the release contained therein. And the release is basically that she won't say anything bad about them, right? She's not going to say anything bad. She's not going to tell the truth. She's not going to spill the beans. The administration, including but not limited to cabinet, will not disparage Tippett's Nut or performance or make otherwise any statement or any action that could reasonably be expected to adversely affect her. Similarly, Tippett's Nuts will not disparage the administration. So it's like a double omerta. We're not going to say anything bad about you. You don't say anything bad about us. Here's $40,000 for the rest of the year. Thank you. Taxpayers pay. Right? Why don't you just say you're wicked fired? Bye-bye. And let the chips fall where they may. Why can't you just do that? Right? MassDOT, since we're talking about MassDOT, they had to run a pilot program for, how do you say this? Narcan at the MTA stations. And I read this report, so you didn't have to. And the bottom line of this Narcan report is that they had this state mandatory pilot program, which the state gave them $95,000. And to their credit, they only spent $55,000, most of which actually went to building cabinets to disperse the Narcan, not the Narcan itself. They spent $28,000 on purchasing the cabinets, $11,000 on installing the cabinets, and the rest of the money was for the Narcan. So $38,000 of the $55,000 they spent was for Narcan, for cabinets, not even the Narcan itself. The bottom line is, if you read this report, they basically said, we don't want to do this. Find a third party. That's bureaucracy talk. Like, find somebody else to do this, because we're not doing it. We had to divert resources from our regular employees who are already busy. People at the office had to order the Narcan, keep the inventory. It had to be checked on a daily basis by the people that are running the train stations. We don't have time for this. And we certainly don't have time for a supersized regular program of this at every single station. We don't have, no. Go get a third party. We're like, this is not for us. If you want to use our stations, okay, go right ahead. But don't use it. Don't use the MBTA to distribute this stuff. We can't be bothered. We're busy with our core mission. So good on the MBTA for saying that. They also, in this Narcan MBTA pilot program report, also said that, according to them, nobody used the Narcan at the MBTA station. Members of the public took the Narcan from the cabinets and then apparently left the station and may or may not have used it someplace else. Oh. So what they're trying to say by that is that there are no overdoses at MBTA stations that anybody used the Narcan for. Okay. Okay, sure there aren't. No problem. Let's see. Governor Healy never stopped gaslighting. Yeah, she's turned it up to 11, no doubt about it. Not one of my go-to for reading. Yeah, why would you read BUR? Only I read BR. I was talking to somebody the other day, like, Jack, how do you prepare for the show? And in Chrome, when it's working, which it wasn't today, maybe it wasn't working. I heard there was a huge data outage. Maybe that's what it was today, because my computer wasn't working as well as it should. So maybe that's why. Maybe it had nothing to do with my my computer. Maybe it was the data outage thing. I got like 80, maybe almost 90, 100 bookmarks on my Chrome, and I don't read them all every day. Sometimes I'll just go for the first dozen, and that gives me plenty of stories. But I could go deep if I have to, and like I did for that MBTA story. All right, so that's it today. Sorry, a little bit of a hodgepodge of a show today, because I had so much fun over the weekend doing normal people stuff. And I'm actually super happy, if you can't tell, that I didn't go. I'm glad I didn't go. And I'm glad I did what I did. Family first. It was a blast. And we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see what tomorrow there might be a special show. I don't know yet. But tomorrow there might be a special show. We'll keep you posted. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.